Hi, y'all. Welcome to Spirit Mail. I'm Cheryl, and this is Daily Mail episode 40. Can you believe that? And I missed yesterday, and there's other times that I've missed too, but 40 Daily Mail episodes, that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm not real sure what I'm going to title this, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I want to tell you that my daddy was a spiritual giant. And I'm going to tell you why. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you that yesterday I did not post a thing. And the day before that, I did my Daily Mail episode about where's the magic in Christmas? Where's the magic, right? And then yesterday I had a lot of stuff kept interrupting the readings that I was trying to do to put up online. And finally, I just decided, okay, I'm going to stop and just take a break because I had an appointment to do a personal reading. Anyway, at some point during the day, I knew that was my dad's birthday, but at some point during the day, it hit me. That was Daddy's birthday. Yesterday was my daddy's birthday. I knew it was his birthday. I knew the night, I've been saying it all week long. But then yesterday, during the day, it just wasn't clicking that it was his birthday. Anyway, so it dawned on me that all that stuff about where's the magic for Christmas, I think for me, I lost the magic when Mom and Dad died, or when Dad died, because my daddy made Christmas so magical that who can compete with that? He would, not necessarily dress up like Santa Claus, but he definitely put on a Santa Claus hat and hand out the presents and all that stuff. And he was so animated and fun, and all the kids just absolutely adored him and, gaga over Pawpaw. And not just his grandkids, not just us when we were little kids growing up, but anybody else's kids who were there. My daddy was very magical. He absolutely loved to make kids smile and laugh, and he would get up and make pancakes and make them look like the little Mickey Mouse with the Mickey Mouse ears and stuff like that. He just, I don't know, a grown man would ride the trike in the driveway alongside of whoever was riding their trike at the time, and let's race or whatever. He was just that kind of guy. He was awesome. But the other night I did letting our parents off the hook, and I told you a snippet about how, when I ran away the second time and my dad hit me whenever he got me home, because he was so frustrated and he was trying to control me, and he felt like he couldn't control me, and then he hit me. But anyway, and somebody said in the comments, I don't care what, nobody should ever lay a hand on you. And I agree, in a perfect world, that is true. But I'm going to tell you why. My dad's a spiritual giant. He was the oldest of 8 children, and he grew up in a very violent home. It was violent, and his dad didn't stop with just physical violence. There was sexual violence involved. And when my daughter was molested, and they all, basically chose to pick his side, not my dad. She was molested by my brother-in-law. And basically my family just wanted us to, move forward like it never happened. And I think it was then that I found out the truth about my mom and my dad's childhood. Not from them, but from my aunt. And as it relates to my dad, what she said that when her dad would go after her or one of the younger kids, because my dad was the oldest, that my dad would step in the way and say, Just take it out on me, whatever it is, because they don't deserve that. So to suffer a childhood like that, and then to be the kind of man that he was, as a dad and as a papa, I'm quite amazed that he could truly not carry that anger for his dad into our lives. Yes, he had a temper sometimes, and I certainly pushed him to beyond his limits sometimes. But to be able to truly, we had a good life. He worked hard, and he didn't just work hard for at his job. He worked hard when he came home, and he gave of himself to others. I'll never forget when I don't remember how old I was, 17 or so. Seemed like everything in the world happened around 15, 16, 17 years old. But I remember he worked offshore, or 7 and 7. He was gone for 7 days, and then he would be home for 7 days. And it's like you could almost time it. He would drive up in the driveway, and the telephone would ring, and it would be some little old lady from church saying, "Is Brother Merlin there?" And they would always need him to go fix a leaky faucet or change a light bulb, or they had these little handyman jobs that they needed done, and they would always call my daddy. And I'll never forget this one time he drove up, and he actually got in the house and said hey to everybody, and he went outside and he got on the lawnmower to cut the grass, and the phone rang. And it was one of those little old ladies wanting to know if he was home yet from work. And I said no. I lied because I was just done with everybody taking advantage of him. We wanted to spend time with him too. But anyway, so I stop and think about, that video that I did about letting our parents off the hook. And I know, some people had a lot to say about that, but what I want to say about it is, whenever you can look at the picture of their life, and I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, I walked 5 miles to school in the snow barefoot and blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm talking about. But that sometimes they have had situations that we couldn't dream of living through. There's no way. Or at least we couldn't dream of living through it and then coming out the other side sane. So whenever my dad hit me, yeah, that hurt, but it ended up that I was pretty grateful for it, because I was a hard-headed girl, and I was determined that I was smarter than everybody in my household, and I needed to go find my life. I didn't know anything. I didn't really know anything. And whenever that happened with my daughter, and he and my mom really felt like I needed to tell her, come on, we moving forward. Act like this didn't happen. We're just going forward. It's because there was nobody there to protect them. Does that make it right for them to expect me to do the same thing? No. But it certainly helps me to forgive them and understand why they were in that mindset, because in their minds they were fine. And until that situation happened in our family, I'd never guessed that that's the kind of childhood they had. Never, not in a million years. So So my dad was a spiritual giant, y'all. He really was. He overcame a lot. So for me to say, well, I can't forgive you for hitting me because I pushed you beyond your limits, or I can't forgive you for not sticking up for my daughter the way I feel like she should be stuck up for. You know, some people say, well, because of what he went through, he should have wanted to things to be different. But you know, there's different mindsets. There was the church, you know, that you're not supposed to bring your brother to the court of law and stuff like that. And he was very adamant about following the rules in the church. So I don't know. So, and the magic, again, the magic about Christmas, he made Christmas so magical. So, anyway, I wanted to say happy birthday to my daddy. And I made a video for his funeral. And I wish I could figure out how to put it on here. But I don't know. I don't know how I can put it on here intertwine it in this thing, but it just shows his personality so much. He was a hard worker. And he was hard-headed. And he loved hard. And he played really, really hard. So happy birthday, Dad. And we're going to pull a PS in case there was something I forgot to tell you about him. Or if there's something else Spirit wants you to know. God, guides, angels, archangels, and Holy Spirit, I thank you so much for my daddy. And I thank you for tarot as a tool. Please show us clearly what's the PS for this message. Thank you for clear and concise messages. Thank you for love, light, and prosperity. And thank you for clarification, confirmation, and validation. Okay, so that's kind of what I was talking about a while ago. You know, there's some people that we have judged and we have held onto a lot of anger or whatever in our lives, and it's like, I feel like Spirit's saying, you know, sometimes we just got to put that to rest because we don't know the backstory, right? I'd have never known my mom and dad's real backstory had that not happened with my daughter. Am I glad that it happened with my daughter so that I could know their backstory? No. But because of what I was going through, I'm glad that it was revealed to me so that I could understand them better and so that I could let them go. But maybe you'll never know that other person's backstory, right? But holding on to it only hurts you. So I feel like this is saying, let it go. There's some people in our lives that we have got to lay that burden to rest, that burden of hate, of anger, of unforgiveness. It's time for us to lay that to rest. Doesn't mean you have to condone them, right? Or have a relationship with them. But it's time to release ourselves from that. And there's the Temperance card. So it's about transmuting the energy. We're responsible for our own energies. And you know what? Had my aunt not told me the truth about my dad's backstory, I may never have forgiven him. I don't know. I was appalled at their decision wanting us to just move forward. Now, I will say this, many years later, whenever he became ill and I went to help take care of him, he apologized and said he was wrong. And whether it doesn't matter. I mean, I had already forgiven him before that, because as soon as I understood, I was able to let it go. But what I'm saying is that we are responsible for we're the alchemists of our own energy. We can take our own energy and continue to feed the anger and the resentment and the unforgiveness, or we can choose to release it and let it not be something hanging over our heads anymore that keeps us from experiencing life to its fullest, because life is beautiful. Doesn't mean it's all rainbows and unicorns and nothing ever goes wrong, because that's not true. It just means that we move through those things easier. And there's the King of Pentacles. And basically what that's saying is, you are the master of your own kingdom. You get to decide what's in your reality. And what's in your reality is going to be a reflection of what kind of energy we're holding on to here. If we're holding on to anger and resentment and frustration and unforgiveness, we're going to get more of that kind of stuff in our life to deal with. But whenever we can let that go, we truly do bring into our reality something different, because what's within is a reflection of, or what's without is a reflection of what's within. As within, so without. Gosh, I'll get those things right one time. As within, so without. Because that's, and so we get to decide, what does our without look like? Do we want to, the Pentacles is all about our real world, right? And you are the king of your own real world. So what do you want it to be like? What do we want to experience in our real world? That's the question. So yeah, I'm sorry for all the tears, but it's really hard to talk about. To think about his backstory. Because he truly was a spiritual giant. He had let it all go. It did not bleed into our life, except with the way he thought I should handle my daughter. I love you guys so much. And I am so grateful that you're a part of this community. And I hope that this has helped you to think about maybe something that you can let go of, that's not really serving you to hang on to. And I hope you'll never love my dad as much as I do, because you'll never know him the way that I knew him. And he was a spiritual giant and a master communicator, because he could communicate love and acceptance and all that stuff without saying the words, just his actions. Like I said, being so magical at Christmas time with the kids and the grandkids. But anyway, I love you guys so much. And I have found some magic since we last talked. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Y'all go out and have a super duper evening.